I stand to be corrected on that, but the Hancock Amendment is something that I have studied, not recently, but we've been all through that. As a matter of fact, we've been through litigation over the Hancock Amendment.
Yeah, the GASB rules have tightened over the last, 20 years or so. And like funds we collect from the electric department can't be spent putting in water lines or city sidewalks or something like that without doing an interdepartmental loan and repaying a loan. It can't be given. And it's a GASB rule that disallows it.
If I may, I don't think there's any reference in our city charter or the Missouri State Constitution in the general account.
Passing the money that they collect.
Not at all.
There may not be in the city charter, but we get audited by Wade Stables and we also get audited by the state audit of our Attorney General's office.
No, the state auditor, the Attorney General.
And we follow those accounting practices.
All right. Question number 2. Isn't it true that the proposition that is going to be put on the ballot, or has been put on the ballot for the April 2nd election, would authorize the Board of Public Works to charge any amount they decide to charge for this purpose?
It gives us the ability to raise a fee in the future if it's necessary. This fee is based upon that 5-year plan that is laid out.
It would be a duplicate department of the electric, water, sewer. So yes,
Let me
theoretically.
repeat that question one time for emphasis. This proposition, would it not allow the Hannibal Board of Public Works to charge any fee they chose on the ratepayers of the city of Hannibal for this purpose?
Theoretically, yes, it would. And that's why you got your appointed board members making those choices.
Appointed by an appointed person.
Appointed by the city manager, approved by council.
And of course, the city manager is not elected. Board of Public Works is not elected. And is there any method in our ordinances, the charter, state law, state constitution, that would provide for a review or appeal from the decision made by the Board of Public Works on how much each of us have to pay?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, that's right.
That's why we hired outside experts to advise us.
That's really what's been the backbone of the great government of this city is outside experts. So those are my 2 questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
How would you
I want to ask that question.
assess or calculate the impervious footage in each parcel of land? Like this guy's house, how do you know the square footage of his or anybody's property? Does someone have to actually go to the site, or do you just with an aerial photograph, or how do you determine each property's
The plan would be to use an aerial and somebody digitize each parcel. That way we know exactly how much impervious area each parcel has.
Yeah, Marion County has an aerial photo available as a mapping system that we have the rights to, purchase the rights to. Rawls County does not, but we're
So what do you calculate to the average residential square footage then for average residents in Hannibal?
We did a calculation here on this panel board right here of a single family residential house of roughly 1,500 square feet. Of that, including sidewalks and driveways, total buildable impervious area square footage would be roughly 2,200 square feet. Based upon the $1.39 rate that is being proposed, it would be a monthly fee of $6.07.
And how about some of the larger properties, some of the factories, businesses? How big are some of those square footages that you've seen? Any idea like what General Mills, this kind of square footage, a place like that might have?
Matt, is that example comparable to anything off the top of your head?
I don't know exactly. There's a non-residential example here. I don't know where Black and Beach pulled this one from, but if a lot size was roughly 5 acres, the building footprint was roughly 20,000 square feet. Then they had, roughly or roughly 100,000 square feet of parking lot or other impervious area. Their monthly fee based upon the $1.39 would be $330.54.
Is it fair to say that some of our larger commercial industrial properties may pay a fee in the thousands of dollars per month, like $3,000, $4,000,
Yeah.
$5,000 a month?
It would be the same $1.39 across the board.
How about not-for-profit groups like schools, churches, would they be exempt from this?
We are not proposing that at this time. And that's based upon, I've got two studies that Black and Veatch conducted, one from 2016 and another from 2018, of different stormwater utilities across the nation. And there is, I'm not going to lie, there are municipalities or stormwater districts that do not tax or not fee the non-for-profits, but the majority of them are subject to the fee.
And right now, our other utilities, electric, water, and sewer, non-profits, for the most part, are subject to those fees.
Matt, did you talk a little bit about, ownership of the property versus renter or leaser of the property, who gets the bill and?
Yeah, we haven't, that's something that would be decided when we develop the stormwater ordinances. I did see it pertinent to move forward with some of these decisions
Right.
if the fee were not passed. Right now, we're funding Andrea off of a loan from the electric department. We have no revenue coming in, so we're trying to be as stingy with these funds as possible. So, you had a question, sir?
I'm just, one more question. How long would it last? If it passes, how long does it last?
It would
I
be,
mean, will it last forever?
yes.
Oh,
It
it will
would
last
be-
forever?
It would be like the water utility, the sewer utility.
That's all I need to know.
Okay? Unless the city chose to do different.
And I understand that the water, the money would be used to repair the storm sewer. I understand that.
Mhm.
But eventually, you're gonna have them all repaired, so then what?
Wouldn't that be a great situation?
I can't hear you, partner.
Wouldn't that be a great situation?
Oh, yeah, it would be.
Okay.
But inevitably, I can't pronounce that right, you will repair it. So then what?
But there's going to be ongoing maintenance of
Okay,
it,
well, I
cleaning.
understand that.
We've got the regulatory requirements, going out, checking every inlet once a year, cleaning out the debris so that it doesn't end up in the creeks. There's the regulatory side beyond the infrastructure maintenance side.
Every year, we would review revenues, expenses, that kind of stuff. And, if it deemed that we were collecting too much money, we would propose a rate decrease.
I don't have any more. I just thank you for letting me speak.
Yep, no problem. And so this is if the proposition were to pass. If it was to fail, we'd have to meet with, our board members, members of our staff, members of the engineering firm, and members of the city council to determine, what level of service do we want to provide? And then becomes the big question is how do we seek that funding at that time? We tried a fee, it didn't pass. Now what? My guess is it's going to be some lower level of service than is outlined in our 5-year plan there. It's going to be, we're going to see more of the Martin Street type situations where a sinkhole comes to the surface. We're going to put up concrete barriers to keep people from driving on it, put over steel plates to keep people from getting into it. And that would probably be the thing moving forward. I can't speak for what would be decided, but that is just my thought moving forward.
But you have to do the regulatory.
But we still have to do the regulatory side.
And that's gonna get
We
more
still
and
have to.
more, and you're gonna do monitoring, and then you may end up with limits on water quality.
Eventually, it will end up here, yes.
Yes.
Part of when we set up our stormwater management plan that we submitted to DNR back in May of 2018, part of setting up the goals that we're being measured against, we spread out those items to allow us time to grow into them. We were both new to the process, and we didn't want to guarantee DNR we'd do everything the first year. Our program was a 3-year program, so we spread stuff out into year 2021, I think, to allow us to grow into it, to allow us to get funding. Part of that is ordinances that we presented to our board last December on stormwater runoff from construction sites, doing inspections. Andrea mentioned the illicit discharge detection. That is something that we planned in the later years of that program to allow us to hopefully secure a funding source, but also develop around what funding source we do have available.
I might add that the council saw a whole lot more pictures of failing, stormwater systems than what was shown here tonight. And one of the big ones that stuck in my mind was in Jim's ward over on the south side by the filling station there on Union Street. That's because catastrophe waiting to happen. And, I can think of some, just a few years back on Mark Twain Avenue that was in the hundreds of thousands of dollars that, the city got bailed out because of FEMA, was involved because it was related to, flood activity. So there's a lot more out there problems than what they're showing you tonight.
The street department, the east of the street department on South 7th is a good example. It's been needing repaired for as long as I've been.
And then one of the big ones, and I don't know if that picture of the Clacks culvert was involved, but right there at the old St. Elizabeth's Hospital.
Yeah, this is the picture that was shown here. It was
And
down between Broadway and
literally collapsed.
that was between Broadway and Chestnut.
Yeah, there's been 3 Band-Aid repairs there, and that's still under the ground.
Yeah, hey, we got some pictures over here. This one here being this elevated sidewalk down by the street department shed. Here's a better picture showing the culverts that are kind of smashed together there south of Broadway, the old hospital, storm sewer. And then this one was the one you spoke about over on Mark Twain Avenue, where 21 feet of the side wall of that box culvert came out, and it was located under a building. There's roughly 16 feet of hollow space between the building floor and this storm sewer. And those problems, like Councilman Dobson said, these are the ones we know about. I'm sure there's plenty out there that we don't know about at this time.
Yeah, we have done almost 0 underground investigation as of now. The map you see over there, it's one guy above ground, GPS and points and putting on the map.
So that concludes the presentation, but again, we would be happy to stick around as long as needed to answer any questions you may have. And by any means, if you get home tonight or tomorrow and you're thinking about this and you've got questions, don't hesitate to contact us at the board. So.
Now, is residential going to get a default bill, or is everybody's individually calculated?
It's going to lean toward go to everybody's individually calculated. That's why that's the way we're moving. Depends, with the year lead time. We got to look at the cost of digitization. We're not taking in any money during that time, so it'd be something that we'd have to make a
The vote
decision.
allows the versatility to do either. But
As
the more accurate method is per square foot of impervious area.
As part of our 5-year plan, it shows the repayment of that $1 million loan from the electric department. And so if the resolution or the proposition were to pass, that would give us a little bit more freedom to move forward using that money that is already borrowed, because we know we can pay it back.
When's that do that?
I think the balloon payment's 2022 or 2023.
They're already deferred.
Yeah.
They're already deferred payment.
Yes, sir.
What's your estimate of how much this will generate in a year?
Between 2.9 and 3.4 million.
Then did you have an estimate of what's out there that needs repaired?
We got some rough estimates, but they're just numbers pulled from the air. Again, we don't have any detailed assessments. Martin Street was roughly 300,000, and that's just for the repair of the or replacement of the conduit. That is not restoration of the street or anything of that nature.
I think what was Black and Beach's capital estimate, wasn't about 1.5 million.
Well, we were spending $1 million a year towards capital.
I thought I'd heard some $20 million figure.
There were some estimates thrown around, I think, that were from a Burns and McDonald report back in 2005. But again, it was just a high level. There was most of it was done, I think, around this table and not actually any investigative work out in the field. So.
One thing we realize is that if the fee passes, people are going to want to see some results. Like the people on Martin Street are going to say, hey, when are you going to fix my street? When are you going to fix the storm sewer? So we realize we're going to have to spend quite a bit of money up front doing those infrastructure repairs, just where we can show the public we're actually doing something. They're not going to see the environmental stuff that Andrew is working on, because it's a big work, water quality and stuff. They want to see the repairs that they've been waiting on Martin Street for a couple of years.
Matt, when we do a Martin Street sort of project, we pay for everything, BPW pays for everything below ground. Does the street department pay to repave the street?
That would be something we'd have to discuss at that time. Right now, with our other utilities, if we make a repair, we pay to have the street redone.
Yeah, they actually do the street repair, but we pay them to do that.
One
For
thing,
water line repair.
one thing we're looking at, especially on Martin Street, is we've got a couple old water mains, and old sewer main there as well. We're looking at a combo type repair where we're replacing all of them at the same time.
Yeah, we got water lines there where the services freeze in the storm sewer. So getting that corrected is on our list. Just to kind of sum up just a little bit of what Matt kind of said, everybody knows we're celebrating the bicentennial this year, 200-year anniversary of Hannibal. Well, a lot of this stormwater infrastructure is probably not 200 years old, but as Mr. Ling alluded to earlier, it's 100 to 150 years old. And we haven't maintained it for years, so there's no telling what we're going to get into. We're seeing some of it come to the surface, and once we start doing underground inspections, we're going to find a lot more. Basically, a yes vote allows the Board of Public Works to start a utility similar to the electric, water, and sewer utility that we already have. Collect revenue, estimate a fee, have employees, have materials, all the stuff that it would take to maintain that system, separate from the other three funds, the electric, water, and sewer. And a no vote would not allow us to collect any fees right now. We would be back to square one, trying to decide how to make the necessary repairs. So as Matt said, you would probably see street closures, alley closures. We would continue putting steel plates over the top of stuff and making it as safe as possible, but very minimizing what repairs we had to do, because the money would have to come from somewhere to make a repair.
There's some storyboards here that Black and Beach has helped us put together. It gives it some more detail about some of these items. You feel free to stick around and look at it. We got some brochures here, and take one of our cards in case you do have any questions. So.